guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are in the best of health. So in today's video I'm going to show you how I do my flawless base foundation routine. This video is very apt for you if you have acne, active acne, acne spots and pigmentation, darkness on your face, and you really want to know how to correct and conceal that to have a flawless and beautiful foundation base. Then this video is really apt for you. So if you guys want to know how I do my flawless base routine, then please continue watching. Alright, so the very first step is to moisturize your skin. Yes, you cannot go on and apply any foundation, BB cream, CC cream or any tinted thing you have without applying a moisturizer before that. Otherwise, the product is going to sit very badly on your face. You may even be able to see the product coming out, flakiness, dryness and cakiness on your face if you don't moisturize and prep your skin very nicely. So the very first step before diving into foundation is moisturizing your face. So today I'm going to use my favorite moisturizer, which is the Clinique Moisture Surge. So you have to use a moisturizer that suits your skin, be it oily skin, combination skin, dry skin. So if you are a dry skin person, make sure you use a very hydrating and thick moisturizer. If you are an oily skin girl, then go for a gel based and light moisturizer, because we anyways tend to get quite a lot of oil. So yeah, today's makeup look is for pigmentation, acne spots, to cover things like this, pimple marks, redness and marks. You can see I have a lot of acne marks and active acne as well. So to cover that, I'm just going to show you what I do. So these are my techniques, the way I do it. So these techniques may or may not work for you. So this is like a hit and trial thing. You have to try out different techniques, different products and see what works best for you. So this is just my way of doing it. So I'm showing you guys what I do to cover all my impurities on the face, and that's how I do my base. So you can see how I do it and adopt all the techniques or some of the techniques that you find might be helpful for you. So yeah. Now let's begin with moisturizing our face. You can use any moisturizer of your choice. So I've been loving this moisturizer. It really suits my skin type really nicely. So I go on with a lot of moisturizer. I like to, hydrate my skin a lot before going on with makeup. So I apply a generous layer of moisturizer. So you can directly, put the moisturizer and then proceed with the next step. But it is always better to let the moisturizer go onto your skin. So let the moisturizer seep onto your skin. So it's always better to apply your moisturizer 10 or 15 minutes before you go on with your makeup. What I usually do is I always apply my moisturizer after I come out of the shower. So I already have my skin moisturized and I then just go on with my makeup if I have to go out or step out. So yeah. Alright, so the next step is priming your face. It is very essential and very important if you want to go for a flawless face look, to prime your face before putting on the foundation or whatever product you're using. So priming your face is very essential, and it is more essential for people who have oily and acne prone skin, textured skin, and you have pores or anything. Then priming your face even becomes more essential for you, just like me. So I cannot apply foundation without primer. So it is very important because I can see pores peeking out of my foundation, and I can also see a texture visible even on top of my foundation. So that looks quite bad, and so to avoid that I always use a primer. You can use any type of primer. You can even use the MAC strobe cream. If you have dry skin, then using illuminating primers helps a lot. Your foundation will look very glowy and dewy. Oily skin girls can also use an illuminating primer, but it's always better to stick to mattifying primers if you have oily skin. So I personally like to use mattifying primers over illuminating primers, but sometimes I also tend to go for illuminating primers because they also look really nice under your foundation. So it just depends on my mood. You can basically use any type of primer. So today I'm going to use the NYX Studio Perfect Photo Loving primer, and this is like a silicone based primer. It's very good, and it says that it softens fine lines and pores. So that's basically the main aim of a primer. So I'm using this today, and this is actually a very good primer. So I take a little bit of amount, like I take this much of primer, and then I warm it up a little bit on my fingers. After warming that up, I pat it onto the areas I have pores and more texture, which is basically my cheeks. And I also pat the primer and like press it so it goes into my pores and gives me a clear and flawless canvas to work on. I also go in all around my face and distribute the primer nicely so that I get a nice and flawless base. So I can already feel that my face feels quite soft and very much moisturized and buttery. So that will really help the foundation to stick to your face as well and to have like a flawless canvas. So that is great. So all the gaps you have due to the pores are filled already with primer. So when you apply the foundation, your face and the base is going to actually look quite smooth. So that's the main objective of using a primer. The next step I've lately been doing quite a lot is color correction. So if you have a lot of darkness, pigmentation, spots on your face, then color correction actually helps quite a lot. So I'm going to show you how I color correct my face, and it really helps me quite a lot. I see a noticeable difference whenever I do this technique. So I'm going to use, like, this is a blush, but I use it as a color corrector because it works pretty much the same. So this is the PAC cream blusher in the shade 05. And this is like an orangey tone blusher, and you can use any like orangey tone lipstick. You can use a color corrector, orange concealer, or orange like blusher like this one. So make sure that the product you're using is cream based and not powder, because the powder won't work. So you need a thing that is cream based and has like a creamy texture. Now, to give you a little bit of insight about the color correction rules, like orangey and peachy tone correctors are used to conceal darkness on your face. So if you have a lot of dark circles and dark spots, then using orange and vibrant like peachy correctors will help to conceal that under your foundation. And if you have redness, quite a lot of active pimples just like these ones, then you can use green color correctors. Honestly, I have not used a green color corrector yet, so I don't know about it because I didn't feel the need to color correct my red or active pimples, because I tend to get these ones like once in a while, so it doesn't really matter to me. And then you have a purple color corrector, and that is used to correct yellowness and paleness on your face. So these are the three main color correctors that are used in color correction techniques. So today I'm going to show you how I color correct using this cream product, which is an orangey peachy tone color corrector. So I just take some of the product on my finger. So yeah, I have the product on my hand, and I just start with my eyes. So you can see the product is quite pigmented, and don't be scared, it's going to get blended out very nicely. And I also have some darkness around my mouth, so I also like to put some product in here. Don't be scared, guys, this is going to look really nice after you put on your foundation. And I also put some of the corrector on the dark spots I have on my face. So you just have to blend this with your finger and blend it nicely. Don't blend it that much that the pigment is gone. You still need some orange peachy tone to be there, so don't blend it that much. We're not applying a blush right now, we're using it as a color corrector. So that is how it looks like. I look like a monkey, but it's okay. You're gonna see how nicely it's going to look after I do my entire base, and you will notice out the difference when you do it. So I highly recommend doing this before your foundation, especially if you have a lot of like spots, pigmentation, dark circles, then this technique is actually going to help you quite a lot. Alright, so the next step is applying concealer. So like you can apply concealer before your foundation or after your foundation. I'm going to do both the things. So before the foundation, I'm going to use a concealer that is very much similar and matching to my actual skin tone. So make sure that you choose a concealer that has the exact or very similar like tone than your skin tone. It needs to be really similar to your skin tone. And today I'm going to use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind concealer in the shade 20 Sand. This is really like matching to my skin color, so I'm going to use this over the areas I have color corrected. So I'm going to take the concealer. So this is a very important thing. Make sure you use a concealer that is very similar to your skin tone. Otherwise, you may experience grayness and oxidization of the concealer, which is going to look really bad. So now I'm going to use this directly over the areas I have applied the color corrector. And one thing I've noticed, whenever I use this technique, I end up actually reducing the usage of foundation, so I don't really require to use a lot of foundation, which is actually great. Okay, so this is how I'm looking right now. I know I'm looking really scary, but you will see the difference. Now I'm just taking this concealer blending brush by PAC, which is the 215 brush, concealer brush, and I'm going to blend in the concealer. You can use any other tool you like. You can even use a beauty blender or anything. So yeah, I really like this concealer because it has a very nice coverage. It's insane. The coverage is so good. Can you see how nicely it is blending in with the concealer, and you don't see any more redness or anything? You will see how brighten up your face looks like, and the dark spots will not be visible. The darkness will not be visible under your foundation. I like to drag the excess concealer on my forehead and basically blend it out nicely. And I also like to take it over my lids. So as you can see, all the darkness and redness is off from my face after using the concealer, and it looks really nice. Like, I don't even need to use a foundation, but we're going to use the foundation to cover up the rest of our face. So we're going to use very less of foundation. So this is a very nice trick, especially if you have a lot of spots and pigmentation, darkness on your face. You can see that my eye area looks instantly brightened up, which looks so good. Like, it looks so pretty in camera, it looks so pretty in person. You will be like very like satisfied with this technique. So I must recommend you to try out this technique. You can use less of concealer. I have used like a lot of concealer because I like my areas to be super brighten up. But if you want to use less of concealer, you can also use less of it. I've used more of it because I like my, you know, this area to be brighten up more, so I've used more of the concealer, but it looks really nice. Alright, so next we are going to apply our foundation. You can use any foundation, your favorite foundation, any foundation of your preference. Today I'm going to use the Maybelline Super Stay foundation. This is my favorite foundation because it sits very nicely on my face. I have a very oily skin, so I really like the coverage of the foundation. It really helps in covering up a lot of impurities on my face, and it also stays in for very long time. It has a very nice coverage, so it's amazing. Although all my problematic areas have already been concealed, I like to use a foundation that, you know, works nicely because I have some more spots in here that I need to like conceal and hide as well. So I use this foundation which has a very nice coverage. So I'm gonna take very less of foundation, like only this much, because like the entire face is already concealed nicely. And to blend the foundation, I'm gonna use a beauty blender, and it's dirty because I used it this morning. So that's a very important thing. Make sure you use clean brushes, clean sponges and everything before you do your makeup, because that's one of the main reasons we tend to get a lot of impurities and pimples and acne. So it is very important to use a clean like makeup tool, be it brush or beauty blender. So I like to dab my foundation. I'm not dragging it because you will lose coverage and we don't want that. So this is how my foundation looks like. It looks very like flawless and good. So this is not a thing that you need to do for your everyday makeup. You can definitely go in with like the moisturizer, the primer, and then with the foundation. But if you're going for a party makeup or for a special occasion and you really want your face to look super flawless, then you can use this technique because it looks really nice and beautiful. The coverage is really good. So this is how my face is looking right now. It looks very flawless, and the best part is that you're actually reducing the use of foundation to a great extent. You can see how less of product we have used for our entire face. We only use a little bit more of concealer, so that's amazing. You can blend in the concealer as well with the foundation a little bit, so your like entire look looks more blended in. So you really need to spend like good 5 to 10 minutes to blend in your foundation. So make sure that you're blending it nicely and pushing the product into your skin. Don't drag it, push the product inside so it gets nicely blended with your skin. Alright, so the next step is using a brightening concealer. That is like a concealer that is 1 or 2 shades lighter than your actual skin tone to make your like makeup more like brighten up and nice. So I'm using this Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer, which is like a shade which is quite light for my skin tone. So I'm going to use very little of it because I used quite a lot of concealer earlier and I just need very little of it to just make it pop a little bit. So I'm using very less of it. However, you can do one thing. You can apply less of concealer in the starting, like the concealer we used to conceal, and then apply like this brightening concealer more in quantity. It's totally up to you. You just have to see what works best for you. So I'm just gonna like dot this a little bit here to brighten up a little bit my concealer. This concealer is also quite thick and pigmented, so it's nice. And I also like to brighten up my forehead and my chin. Can you guys see the difference of using a brightening concealer? My eye area looks much more brighter, and even my forehead and chin are looking more like highlighted. So these are the points that should be more like brighten up on your face to make your face look super flawless and beautiful. So yeah, this is how I do. Now the next step is to set everything, and to set that up we're going to use a loose finishing powder, and today I'm going to use this one right here, which is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade 15 Light. You can use the shade that suits according to your skin tone. My shade is this one. It is very similar to my skin tone, a little bit lighter than my skin tone to brighten it up, but it's very beautiful. It brightens up your face, it mattifies your face and makes the foundation last you longer. It prevents the concealer from creasing out, so it's like the best powder out there. You can even use a compact powder if you're not comfortable with using a loose finishing powder, but I personally like to use a loose finishing powder because I really like the finish. So I'm taking the same beauty blender and dabbing it into the product, as you can see, and then I'm going to dab it under my eye area. I like to set my entire face with this powder because it's amazing. I love the coverage and the finishing of the powder. You can even use a compact, as I told you before, but it's totally like your personal preference. I love the way this mattifies my entire face. It's amazing. And if you guys have oily skin just like me, then using this will definitely help you a lot in making your foundation last longer and to avoid getting oily foundation. So that's going to help quite a lot. If you have oily skin, then you definitely don't need to use this much of powder because your foundation is going to be quite dried out because your skin is already dry. So you can go for this one with lesser quantity, or you can definitely go in for a compact powder which is more lighter than this. So that's also going to look very nice. Even oily skin girls can go for compact powders if you don't like using loose finishing powders. So meanwhile the powder is doing its thing and setting up the face and the concealer, I'm gonna just quickly do the rest of my makeup off camera and come back. Alright, so I've done the rest of my makeup off camera and I love the way this is looking. You can see the base looks really flawless and nice. At start it may look a little bit like dry just because you have set it up with powder, but when it's complete, like you're done with the entire makeup, you can see that your foundation sits on so beautifully. Also guys, I've done this base and went to weddings and like I went in for long hours. I also went for a college event with this makeup on and it stayed on, like I went in the morning at 9 a.m. and it stayed on until like 10 p.m. so it lasted me good 11 to 12 hours, so which is so amazing, and I didn't use any other thing than this. Also guys, you can also go on with a setting spray and preferably go with a matte fix setting spray, like an oil control setting spray. I have this one from Makeup Revolution, which is actually really good, but even if you don't apply a setting mist or a setting spray, the makeup is going to last you for quite a long. Using a setting spray does not make much of a difference because I went with this makeup look without any setting spray and it stayed on for so long and stayed intact. It looked so beautiful. Even like at the end of the day, it was the same. It didn't move, the foundation didn't budge off or anything, which is so amazing. So using a setting spray is something extra, but it's not something very over the top or super different or super noticeable. Like using a setting spray helps, definitely it helps in sealing your makeup and blending it nicely with your face. It also adds a little bit of more staying power to your foundation, but even if you don't use it, it doesn't make much of a difference. But if you use it, then it's better. I personally don't like using setting sprays and setting mists because I don't know, I feel that I have to wait until the setting spray is dried out and then go in with the highlighter, and so I don't use most of the time setting sprays. But if you wish to, you can definitely go in for it. If you are a dry skin, then go for glow mist, and if you are an oily skin, then go for mattifying or matte fix setting sprays. So yeah, another tip I have for you guys is that whenever you apply your highlighter, don't apply it directly like this. Apply it only onto the high points like I did this time. It's just apply it here. Don't like drag your highlighter down to your cheeks, because if you have texture right here, it's gonna like show off a lot. So it's better to only apply it onto your high point and just here. Don't drag it down, otherwise it's gonna look more accentuated and your problematic area is going to get accentuated. Also, another thing I wanted to guys tell you is that you can definitely make your face look flawless. You can correct darkness, redness, but you cannot get rid of texture. So what does that mean? As you can see, you can already see some of the bumps that I have. Like this is the acne that I have concealed, but you can see the acne bumps as well. So you cannot get rid of the acne bumps. You can get rid of pores a little bit if you use a primer and everything, but you cannot get rid of the texture that you have on your skin. Texture is normal, texture is beautiful, and you cannot get rid of the texture like 100%. You can reduce its appearance, but you cannot totally get rid of the texture. So that is a really important thing to understand. And yeah, this is all about today's video. I just wanted to show you guys how I do my base, and this is how I do my base for important events, for like parties and everything. I really want my base to look super flawless and beautiful. As you can see, the base has turned out really nicely, and the makeup I've done is really natural, like a very basic matte nude makeup look, because I just wanted to show mainly my base routine. So you can do this base, like if you have a very problematic skin, then definitely you can go in with this techniques like for your everyday makeup as well. Just use less of the concealer, less of the foundation, or use like less coverage foundation, or use a BB or CC cream. It can also work very nicely with that if you're going for a office look and you want it to look more lighter than this, because this is quite like on the upper side. It's like a heavy party makeup look base, so you can do that, or it's totally up to your preference. I am a person that likes to wear a lot of makeup, and I don't mind doing this routine or base even for my everyday makeup or for office. So That's totally upon personal preference. If you don't like heavy makeup looks, or a very perfect base for your everyday makeup looks, then it's totally upon you. You can skip this. But yeah, this is for special occasions, parties, events, even for everyday makeup if you guys like to. It's totally subjective and upon personal preference. So yeah, this is all for today's video. I hope you guys really found this helpful and it has helped you in some way or the other, and you really enjoyed watching this video. If you really did, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Moreover, if you haven't subscribed to my channel and have not joined my YouTube family yet, then please hit that red button and subscribe to my channel. It would really mean a lot to me. And yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.